Welcome, everybody. I'm Naija, and friends call me Nye, and this is the Naija and Cliff Mega Channel. If you're just clicking on to this, and if you're interested in this video, it's all about stages to marriage. I don't know how I'm going to name it, but something like that. There's different stages to marriage, right? And to relationships. It can relate to both, because a marriage is just a relationship with a signed contract, you know. So anyway, if you're interested in learning more about your relationship, stay tuned. All right, so there are many stages in any relationship and in any marriage, okay? When you first get married, of course, that's what they call the first, I say 5 years, or first 3 years is like the honeymoon stage. But we're not gonna I'm not gonna break it down into those specific levels, because this video will be absolutely too long for that, okay? I'm gonna break it down into maybe I'm gonna break it down to maybe like 5 stages. I'm gonna try to do 5 stages. All right, let's do in 7-year intervals. All right, so the first 7 years of any relationship, of a marriage, I'm married, I've been married for 17 years. The first 7 years, you're still learning each other. So look at it like a child. The first 7 years of a child's life, they're learning and they're developing their character. So any outside influences and everything like that is affecting their development. You can look that up with the brain. The first 7 years of life is when they start developing their character. They learning, they're intaking so many different things. The same thing in a marriage. The first 7 years, you're learning each other. You're learning how to maybe habitate together, how to solve problems together, how to do things together as a unit. All right. So that's what the first 7 years are about. If you get to that, but just know that you're learning each other, and it might be some things that you don't like. It's gonna be some things that you don't like, but the thing is, you're gonna have your deal breakers too. So if you can get through the first 7 years, remember, you're still learning each other. You're still learning how to figure out each other's needs and everything like that. It's still brand new. The first 7 years, you're still brand new. Your relationship is still brand new, okay? It's like a baby. You still feeding it. You still on like soft foods, you know what I'm saying? So just look at it like that, all right? I don't want to get too much more in depth, because it's, like I said, the video will be too long. The second stage will be like this, from the 7th year to the 14th year, right? So the 7th to the 14th year it's could get a little crazy, right? Because those years is when you're getting out of the middle, like you're middle age to you're getting into teenager, you know. So, and you know, as a child, when you're coming from like a preteen or like a before that to a teen, it's a big change. It's hormonal changes. It's you're seeing life differently. You're changing again. You're growing again. You are establishing other relationships. You are learning how to cultivate the other relationships around you. So that can be a very, very, very difficult time. You know, if in the beginning stages you weren't nurturing it like you're supposed to, like breastfeeding it and nurturing it and giving the proper things. Like I said, relationship is just like a child. You have to feed it the proper things. You have to work at it, and you can't demand too much of a child, because a child is still learning. And I hate to relate a child to a relationship, but it's the same thing, because you're still nurturing that relationship. You're still learning that person, because we don't stay the same. Every 7 years we change. Our bodies change physically, our bodies change internally, we change spiritually. So of course our relationship is going to change, right? So that year is a really, really trying time. So if you get to past the first 7 years, just know that, oh, you didn't hit a milestone. Okay, because you went from infancy, birthing, infancy, toddler, to to a little child. So you went from like on the mother's breast to, you know, finally walking, talking, and learning, growing, and absorbing everything around you and stuff like that. Okay, so we have the first 7, and then we have 7 to 14 years. And so like I said, I've been married for Lord 17 years, right? So from 14 to 21 years. Okay, so the 14 to 21 years, again, it's just another stage. You're starting to understand more your partner. You're starting to accept things. And I'm not saying like accept like, oh, bad behaviors and things of that nature. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying you start to understand what love is. You start to understand yourself. You understand, you start to understand who you are, even though you're still learning, you're still growing, and you're still coming into a completion of who you are as a person. You still, you know, you're still evolving in a relationship. But the thing about it, after you hit the 14th year, you start realizing that you don't put, you realize that the other person is who they are, you know, and they're growing and they're changing too, but you're not putting all these expectations on them, because I feel like with experience comes this understanding that people are learning and growing on their own particular paths. And when you have this expectations of who they should be, that's when things go left, right? Things go left when you say you're supposed to be this way towards me. And it's like you start understanding that it's a partnership, and then you start understanding that what you're looking for in this person, you start to understand it's within yourself. So you start understanding that it's a completion within yourself. So you don't start looking towards that person like to complete you or define you or to like put you back in order. Like if your relationship is out of order, then you're out of order. But you start realizing that it's mostly an internal movement, an internal growth of yourself. You start pointing the finger back at yourself rather than pointing the finger towards your mate. Oh, you're not giving me this. Oh, you're not, you're not the same person, or you're not providing me what I need, or you're not giving me this or this and that. You start realizing that there's a lot of things that you can provide yourself, a lot of things that you can complete in yourself. And then you're like, well, then what's the point of a relationship, a marriage? The point of a marriage and relationship is for you both to grow together and to evolve. It's a business. It's a business contract. You sign a contract, right? If you're married, or if you're not married, it's a verbal agreement. It's a contract. It's still a contract. And what it is you're growing. You're building something together. Okay? And what is your goal together as a unit? What is your goal together? Is it to experience things together or separately? Even though you're supposed to experience things separately and as well together, but what is your goal as a unit? That's like if you wanted to build a house, right? And your goal was like, okay, we needed to decide on what kind of bricks, what kind of foundation, what kind of who are the people we need to help build this. Are we gonna stick to this? You know what I'm saying? Or this house will not get created, will not get built, right? So it's the same thing in a relationship. It's the same thing in a marriage. It's like you go through your turbulent times and everything, but as you get older and as you get wiser and you start understanding who you are, you start realizing that there's a bigger picture, right? You start learning like more about yourself, and not you start coming to an understanding. You start learning about yourself. You start not letting other people interfere in the ultimate goal. sometimes people forget. And this is so much. Relationships are so intricate. They're so delicate. They're so pure. They're so like made up. They're meshed with so many different things, and it's hard to narrow it down in this one video. Oh gosh, it's very hard to narrow it down in this one video. So if y'all want more, I guess I gave you 3 stages because I've just hit the 3rd stage. Okay. So, but it's many stages, every 7 years of your life, every 2 years, every year is something different. But I wanted to break it down into 7-year intervals because those are the biggest transitional years. So if you need help further in your marriage or relationships, don't hesitate to direct message me. Talk about it in the comments. What are the questions you have? What have you learned in your relationships? What have you learned in your marriage? And help somebody else out. Remember to subscribe, remember to like, remember to comment, remember to share. Maybe this can help somebody else out along the road. Okay, so I hope this helped you guys, and I know it's just so many different things and it's hard to really go into depth without creating a series of this, you know. Maybe I should, I don't know, it depends if y'all need it, if y'all want it. I got you. All right, peace out, y'all.